everybody. I'm here at the house. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good week. Hi Kathy. I'm trying to read all the way. It's hard for me to see over there. We had a busy week. We went to go visit Jacob in his new billet family up with the Kempville 73s. So we went up there this past weekend. That was really fun. To just kind of see what that all looks like a little bit. He's in training camp, so he just started that this week, and he's taking some online courses too, so that was good to just kind of catch up with him and see him, although I bawled for about the first hour leaving Ontario, but that's okay.
This is Facebook, and then you know how to get to Instagram.
Okay, and I'll be able to see the comments on here, baby?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Emily is helping me. So I hope you guys are all doing well today. I am cozy at the house today, and I'm starting to work on a lot of wreaths. I typically make the wreaths at my house. I have like a little workshop set up out in my garage, so that's typically where I am doing it, but I'm in my kitchen today. Sometimes I work in here too, just depends on things. Hi Carol, how are you? I am seeing that. Hi Priscilla. All right, let me bounce back over here and say hi to a few people on Instagram. Let's see. Hi, Ashley Buron. All right, so tonight what we're going to be doing is we are going to be making a wreath. And we're going to make kind of a basic wreath. Typically we do some wreath classes and things. I have a couple big interior design projects. So I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do them this fall, but for sure for Christmas we'll make sure that we can do some wreath classes at the store. But I wanted to show you a commonly asked question that I get. A lot of people ask me two questions, actually. One, what is the base? What do I start with? In fact, Delaney asked me that today. What is the base that you do? What do you start with? And then also, like, what do they need? What do I use? Whatever. So I don't really have necessarily a prescription of things that I do, but I would say first thing I do, and if you could see around, I make sure I'm comfortable. And I know that sounds really, really ridiculous, but if you're trying to be creative with something, you need to be relaxed. If you're going to be tense and stressed about it, it typically is not going to work. And I always, when I'm saying in my classes, I'm always like, just relax. Just let it happen. You know, we're not cutting bangs here. So it's always an easy fix. We can always fix it if you make a mistake. It's okay. And we can make it look better or whatever. You don't have to be so stressed out. So I'm most relaxed when I'm listening to country music. I have a drink in hand. Tonight it's a Jack and Coke. I'm in my sweatpants. I'm comfortable and I'm just relaxed. My hair is up out of my face. You know, those that know me at the store know this is very, very true. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story quickly while people are still jumping on. Years ago, when I was just still working part-time at the store, Barb, the old owner, had a big warehouse full of florals, and she asked me to do something with them, and I had just started working in the store. I was so excited about it. And she gave me the key, and I would go over to this warehouse and get away from the kids for a little bit, have a bottle of wine, and just relax and work on things. And I really, really enjoyed doing it. And I ended up probably making no, I'm not even kidding, probably about 30 wreaths for Christmas, a lot of wreaths that year. But one night I was working in there, had my music cranked up, and I had on my slippers and my pajama pants and was cranking out a bunch of different designs and things like that. And Janice brought a client in, and here I am, with my hair up like this, my jammies on, and I'm riffing away and doing things. And she brings in her client. It ended up becoming a very good client for the store and good friend of mine as well. But it was just so funny. I'll never forget it. I was so embarrassed. So anyways, but you got to be comfortable and you got to be relaxed. So pour yourself a glass of wine or whatever you need to do to relax. Put your favorite music on. Be in a place that is relaxing. I have my fresh flowers here. It makes me just kind of feel good, right? And it makes me start feeling creative. So I have this. We got these new, I'll just share these with you too. We got these new candles in at the store. maple butter pumpkin. Stop. I stopped at the farmer's market this morning. Ugh. Got some pretty flowers. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not kidding. I really need to be in the moment, in the mood, I guess you could say. I have my snuggly sweatpants on and I'm ready to go. Some things that I think you definitely need are a glue gun. I buy these glue sticks because they tend to last me forever and ever. They're really long. I get them wholesale, but you can also get them Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's, any place like that. Crafty, probably Amazon too. They're nothing special. A big glue gun that's gonna really heat. Invest in some good nippers because I'm gonna show you some things that I do with different like bunches and things like that, but it's really nice and a lot easier on your hand if you have some good nippers. And a pair of scissors, and then some supplies. Now, I love getting a wreath either way that has just the grapevine, so see like this, but a lot of people will hang just this on their door, which you can buy. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Amazon, pretty much anywhere you can get these. Pretty run-of-the-mill and fine. But of course me, you know, if you know the store and you know me a little bit, I'm gonna jazz that up quite a bit. So it's not gonna look anything like this, but it is a good base, so you can start with something like that. So hi everybody, I'm trying to watch Little Finch says you are the wreath master. Well, you are the balloon master, so we make a good team. Okay, let's see here over here. I'm trying to see and answer any questions. Emily, do you have your phone, honey? You can kind of read me if there's any specific questions people ask. So when you buy these, one mistake, a simple mistake that I see a lot of people do is they hang it on their wreath and it's hanging on their door and it's super flat. Okay, we want to have some dimension, and we also want to make the wreath look as voluminous and big and fluffy as possible. So sometimes that means bending things, fluffing things. You can see it just takes a minute, but I just kind of fluff up all of these. So I have lots of areas to stick things and shove things in. Okay, let me just kind of click on this so I can try to keep an eye on the time here as well. I don't want to, usually our wreath classes are a little bit longer than this, but I'm going to try to do a basic, and I'm going to try to teach you a few tips and tricks that I use for just like a basic wreath that you can go and get your own. All right, so we have some artificials at the store that we sell. A lot of times what I look for in a flower, or if I'm looking for, you know, different things for my wreath, the most economical way to do it is by, like, you can buy these big bunches. I look for things that look real. I'm not crazy about, unless I'm going for something really whimsical, I try to look for things that look natural, look real. Sometimes I'll add a different element. Almost always I'll add a different element and then say like a velvet pumpkin or something like that that obviously isn't real looking, but it gives it some texture. But hey Douglas, love you too. But I love giving that texture and things, but I'm pretty fussy about the things I buy for any floral arrangements because you want a high quality. That doesn't mean you have to spend a fortune. Nowadays, you can go anywhere and get so many things. Obviously, I sell, you know, some super whimsical ones. Like these are like these Mackenzie Childs bouquets. And they started doing these the last few years and I love them. I rarely leave them like this. And you'll see I'm gonna pull this apart. In fact, I can do it now. I'm gonna just take my nipper so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. They come with this twine on here and I'm just gonna cut that off. I'm actually gonna stand up. I'm sitting on my Mackenzie Childs stool, but I'm gonna, typically when I'm working on something like this, I stand. And a lot of people ask also if I work on a wreath laying flat or do I have it up? I believe that that's personal preferences. I like to stand over it like this and see it. And then finishing touch-wise, I will hang it up on like a 3M in my garage or whatever, or if I'm at the store, a wreath hanger or whatnot, and just kind of make sure I like the bow placement, things like that. All right, So these just simply untwine. They're just held together with a wire. Super easy. But what I like about it is once you take it apart, you have lots of different ways that you're going to be able to use this. All right. So I am definitely going to use that. I love the big bunches like this because, like I said, you get a lot of bang for your buck. And you don't have to use this whole thing in each wreath. This wreath is, like I said, very typical. So it has a lot of orange in it. And so I'm going to need some other colors in there. I loved these green pumpkins. I thought that that really could give it an interesting pop, the orange and the green together. I thought was really beautiful. And I'm not going to use Mackenzie Child's ribbon today because I want you to see that you can do these things oftentimes with your own things that you may have, or maybe you're going to want to rip apart the wreath on your front door and redo. All right, so let's start with this here, this Mackenzie. And I'm going to start with using some of the heavier pieces. And when I'm saying that, heavier pieces as opposed to, you know, some of the more simplistic things. So actually heavier in weight. And the reason being is because you want to lay those towards the back of your wreath so that you're not having things dangling like this because of the weight is so heavy. Also, when you're starting to stick things in, make sure that you're using enough glue. And also be careful because obviously I have burnt myself way too many times to count. In Christmas season, I have like burns all over my hands because of it. But you're going to probably you're going to burn yourself. And I'm sorry in advance. For Honeybees takes no responsibility for that. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to start with some of the heavier things. And then I feel like I'm loving these leaves, and even though there's a lot of orange in here, I want to start adding some of the deeper brown colors. I want to expand this wreath and make it a little bigger. Now, if this is not your jam to be crafty, hey, I get it. There are certain things I don't do, like I don't do glitter. But if not, then we are always having finished wreaths that I make over at the store. We're really low on them right now, but I've been working away. So by the weekend for Fall Fest, there'll be a lot. So say something like this. You can get these very inexpensively. And then there's always a joint. And don't be scared to just cut those open so that you have lots of bits and pieces. All right, so I'm going to start gluing some things in here. I'm going to start with these leaves. And I'm just going to apply glue to the stem. My hot glue gun is already scalding hot and ready to roll. And then I'm just going to put these in to start building my base. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let me see. Is that okay? Can you see on there what I'm doing? Okay. So I'm going to start building the base around to give it a little bit of depth of color because I don't want it to look too orange, and I want to introduce some other colors. And these Mackenzie bouquets actually came out in spring. So they're very springy in color, but I did think that the brightness could be really pretty in these wreaths. Let me grab some more of these leaves while I'm looking at them. All right. Okay. Sometimes I'll add some long ones too, but typically I'll do that more so as I go, and I'm just going to, I tend to like to work with a little bit shorter stems. Now, with that being said, so we have some really real elements, but obviously what's fun about getting a bouquet like this is it has the courtly check. So I am going to use those pieces that are the flowers like this with the courtly check because I think it adds a lot of whimsy and fun. So even though I have things looking like super natural and super real, I think it's fun to be able to add a little element of surprise. And that way it's still got a touch of whimsy in Mackenzie Childs. So this week we have been busy over here at the house. After we got back from seeing Jacob, we started decorating for Christmas. Oh my gosh, not yet, but soon. This week we started decorating for fall because I'm having my team from the store over tomorrow night for a fun girls' time. And we're partnering up with a few businesses around town, which I'll be sharing more with them about. But we're going to be having a really glamorous picnic in my backyard to kick off the season. And I'm excited about that, but I wanted the house to be decorated for fall, obviously. So we went and got pumpkins, plus the kids were back to school today, so I wanted them to have, you know, the typical stand on the porch and take their picture. Now I'm going to add, like I said, some of these heavier elements. I love that bright green color in there. I think it's okay to mix that freshness because we're going to balance that brightness out a little bit with some deeper items. But anyway, so we decorated the front porch, which, by the way, anybody local looking for corn stalks, Seasonal Landscaping had the most beautiful corn stalks I think I've ever seen in my entire life. They're huge. If you come to Fall Fest this weekend, you'll see I got some for the store as well as my house. Oh my God, they were so gorgeous. Usually, you know how they're kind of skimpy and thin? They are huge, tall, I would say at least 10 feet tall, and so chunky. They were really gorgeous. So thanks Seasonal Landscaping for doing that. All right, they also typically in these little packages, like this little branch, has the berries and the flowers in it. Now you can see I'm going to separate these because one thing unless I'm going for that look of more of a cluster of something, you can pull those apart and use them and separate them a little differently so that you don't have all of that same color in one chunk. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this one all together, but you could see that I separated that, and I'm gonna glue this in so you can kind of see how that looks on one side over here and how I'm building. One rule of thumb when I'm shoving things in there is 1, stay relaxed, 2, have enough glue, like I said. Also, try to keep in mind the way your branches are going. You know, you want it to look like it naturally kind of grew out of that. So you can see I'm just working on this inner corner here, right here. You can see as I'm putting that together, I've fluffed everything up and I've shown you what I've used. Those are those inexpensive like little leaves as a good backdrop because you need a lot of them, right? So to try to keep costs down. Sometimes you can see I'm so lucky because I have a lot of different places I can buy things. But for you guys making things at home, always try to, look in your local, there's some great local floral shops and things like that, and they have a lot of sales. So, it's always good to buy off season too if you can, and because you kind of need a lot for a wreath. I would say, you'll see when I put everything in there to really jazz this up, but if you want it to be full, here's another one of those pretty little courtly check flowers. If you want it to be full, you need quite a bit. So that's why buying those bunches and whatnot are really a good option to try to help keep those costs down a little bit. Okay. I am going to continue on here breaking things apart. I wish I could do a fast forward for you, but this is when, even if I just get half the wreath done, I don't want to take all of your time, and then maybe what I can do is post a picture after I'm all done. I don't know. Maybe you guys are going to want to see the finished result. I'm not sure. But you'd have to hang with me for quite a little bit here. At least I can show you some of my tricks. I am going to get all this Mackenzie glued in so that you can see what that starts to look like. Need another glue stick. I like those long glue sticks because you have to refill less. They are a little bit more expensive, but I do feel like once you're in the zone, you want to keep going. Okay. So Emily, you had your first day of school today.
I did.
Not only first day of school, first day of high school, right?
Yep.
Were you nervous?
I was a little nervous. I
Yeah.
was driving up like the hill to the school, and I was like, oh my goodness.
First
And
day
then I
of
walked in
high
and I go,
school.
I don't know where to go. And Grace just walks away, and I was like, uh-oh.
Oh boy. I think Jacob probably did the same thing to her. Although we had
You're a
gone,
little late.
yeah, although we had gone up to the school and you had walked your thing and you said you didn't get too lost, right?
No, I was pretty good.
Good. Good.
Just gotta stay on the right side of the hallway so you don't get trampled on the other.
Gets busy.
Yeah, very busy.
So I have a question for you guys. Do you remember your first days of school? Do you have a plan? I have a question. Do you have a plan or do you wing it? Tonight I had a general plan because I wanted to show you guys a couple different techniques that I use, like breaking apart those big bunches and things. Honestly, it depends on how much. I mean, I can make up to 5 or 6 wreaths a day. So it really depends on how much wine I've had that day, I think, to answer your question full honestly. But I do find that this is going to be hard to explain, but I feel like in my mind, I'll have a general feel of what I want it to be, whether I want it to be whimsical as far as the feel of it. If I want it to feel whimsical, if I want it to feel earthy, if I want it to be very neutral, that kind of thing. When I'm making a custom floral, for example, the first thing I look at or the first thing I ask, and people are always kind of surprised by it, is I'll ask them to send me a picture of their house and their front door, because I want the color scheme of it to kind of flow. It should be the appropriate size. Like this wreath, once it's done, you can see it's starting to really grow bigger. So this would be good, for a normal size door, I would say, or a little bit bigger. But person door, I would say. A lot of times, I feel like people do too small of a wreath on their door. That's another thing. I feel like if it's hanging on a wreath hanger, I like to see 1/3 of the door above and 2/3 of the door below. That's just my cup of tea of what I like. So if, like, for example, I'm sure somewhere on Instagram I've posted a picture of my front door with my wreaths a million times, but for my front door is a little bit, I don't know what the standard size door is, but I would say my front door is a little bit bigger than that. This is just one tip. I'll come back to that. When you have these little extra leaves, use them. Don't just throw those away. Glue them up and go ahead and use them as a layering. Sometimes I'll put like 2 or 3 of those together to kind of give the illusion of that. That's like more of a bunch that I didn't separate it. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. Now, you see those bright pops of colors. And now we're going to kind of cool it down a little bit. I want to show you how I use some longer branches next. So I'm going to show you, because I feel like these are pretty popular to buy and a great way to save some money and a lot of variety in them. So I'm going to show you how I use some of these longer branches to fill in on the edges so that you have a really, where it looks skimpy, like say in here, you can kind of fill that out. But so I'll start with the size of the wreath. That's part of the plan. Then I'll kind of say, okay, what color is their house or brick? Or what is their feel? Maybe they're very, very elegant. Maybe they want something very, very elegant in feel. And then from there, maybe they're very farmhousey and they want something kind of along those lines, or very neutral and subdued. And this would be way too bright for their tastes. So, I kind of talk to the customer about all of that when I'm doing a custom. So I would say, ask yourself those questions. What do you want it to feel like? Do you want it to be the first thing that people see when they're looking up at your house? Obviously, I love that. I have a wood front door so I can really play and do a lot of fun things, but my house is a light yellow with teal shutters. Okay, here's a nice big sunflower. When I'm just gonna pause again and tell you how I'm going to decide the placement of that. When I'm doing some of these pieces, I like them closer to this part of the wreath, the inner circle of the wreath, as opposed to way out here where it can look kind of unsupported, I guess would be the word. So I'm going to take some of these big sunflowers now and kind of mix those in along the inner circle of that. How am I doing on time? Okay, not too bad. You guys staying with me here? Oh yeah, okay, good. All right, so I would say that is my house is yellow with teal shutters. So I am cautious of what colors I bring in. For fall wreaths, I'll even consider, and I'll ask customers, what color are your mums? What color are you putting anything else around it that you want to pull in? You know, those kinds of things. You can try to think of it as pulling all of those colors sort of together. And that way you can really play with it and have fun. Hope that answered that question. And that's probably way more detailed than you needed to know, but that is the thought process that I have. You know, it's funny because when I have flowers coming in from all different vendors, typically, you know, you buy fall in last January when I have things coming into the store and whatnot. And I hope you guys can see what are you able to really watch me work while I'm doing this?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, perfect.
Just once in a while, hold it up a little so you can see the full wreath. But
Okay. All right, I just glued in. I'm going to show you these because I love, this is what I was saying about different textures. So we have a lot of flowers going on, which we can make it work. I love that look. That's just my personal style. But now I added in those cute little acorns for a different texture. Now, do acorns really look like that? No, but does it give it different kind of a texture in there, a different kind of crunch to it? Yes. What's going on?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you were trying to tell me something.
Yeah.
Oh. So anyway, so tomorrow I'm having my team over to kick off the holiday season. I can't even believe that. And I'm so lucky because I partnered up with some really great companies. One is Flowers by Nature here in town. And it was so fun because I love working with Cheryl over there. She is making some florals for the store. I love and it's funny because a lot of people say, and I can do it a little bit. I'm not as quite as an artist as she is. But it's so funny because I don't love working with fresh flowers nearly as much as I love working with faux. And I think it's because I can bend and twist them so much and manipulate them the way I need them. So for example, when you have that big bunch that I'm still working with, you're gonna get a lot of things as you're cutting it down, you know, the stems, and it looks so straight, right? And that's not what we want. We want it to bend. You want it to bend in the direction of that wreath. You want to separate those leaves. You know, you want it to have some natural curve to it so that it's looking much more natural than, you know, just a big bunch that's so stiff. Kind of similar to when we fluffed our wreath in the beginning. Another key element, and like I said, today I have no Mackenzie Childs ribbon in stock. I do have some for bows, but it's just they're really low in inventory on it. Hopefully to be coming in shortly. But that's one reason. But also because I wanted to show you guys what adding a bow does to a wreath with colors. And like I said, I'm using this ribbon, okay? That we did. We can have a whole bow making class sometime, but that will take too long. So we have a bow already made up. Gracie made this bow for me. She typically makes all my bows. And when you're doing your wreath, one thing to decide is say, okay, now at this stage, I would say we have probably 60% on there, okay? I'm gonna fill it in a lot more because like I said, I like my wreaths really full. But now is a good time to start saying to yourself, where's your top? How are you going to want it hung on your door? You know, each of these kind of bend. You know, the back is kind of, all those grapevine wreaths, especially if that's your base. Same thing with evergreen wreaths though, like if you're sorry, those are strings from my glue. But you're gonna wanna start to think about where you want the top and where you want the bow. So I'm thinking I like it like this. I'm liking the way that these kind of, I think I could build on that and have it kind of branch out and tendril down a little bit. So I'm thinking I'm gonna save some room, not a lot though, for my bow. So it'll just kind of nestle on in there. I'm not gonna obviously put the bow on now because we don't wanna get glue on it. But I'm gonna have that kind of in my mind as to where I want that. Sometimes I'll do the bow smack dab at the bottom and the center, but I just feel like this one is kind of, you'll know how you like it. I am just kind of feeling like this is lending itself to be like this. And I might play on these tendrilies that was on the original wreath to really make that pop. Okay. I am going to show you, coming up next here, I think we're gonna add some bigger elements in. And then we can kind of build around it a little bit. I want to show you these pumpkins. These are great. Again, they're everywhere. You can get them in so many different things. Velvet, ceramic, painted. It's just kind of your jam. I loved that these were green. I thought that was such a pretty sage green. So I'm going to use these. And I like when they come on a short stick like that because you're going to really nestle them in. Okay? You want these. I'm going to hold this up so you can kind of see what I'm doing easily here. You don't want these heavier things on the edges. Obviously, that looks really goofy. And what's nice about having something on a really skinny stem like that is you can really nestle it in, like those pumpkins are growing out. Same concept, maybe we'll have to do another one at Christmas time. Same concept as if you were doing ornaments in an evergreen tree or a rounded, whatever, I use ornaments. Sometimes I've done where I've glued teacups and it just kind of depends on, but you want the element of something different than just florals in your wreaths. So obviously for fall, I'm gonna glue some of these gorgeous pumpkins in. And I like sometimes too, especially around where my bow is going, I like having a couple together, and I think I have some pumpkins in other colors too. Do I have any white creamy pumpkins, Emily? I brought in some stuff. Would you mind? Yeah, I think I had some like on a little branch with some other berries and things like that. If you could bring that in, that would be great because then I can show people how I like pull that all apart. Okay, so I'm just gonna add these pumpkins. Again, good time to take a drink. Do not overthink this. Let it just happen. Like I said, we're not cutting bangs. This isn't anything permanent. We can always pull it out if you end up not loving where you placed it. So don't stress about it. A lot of people will say to me when we're taking the class at this point, they'll be like, okay, what do you think? I say, just do it. Just glue it in. Let's see. I also tend to bend the edge like that so the pumpkin is sitting with the stem kind of facing you instead of facing like say down or whatnot. I'm gonna glue some over here. Also another question that I get is, do you have to buy an odds? And it's so funny. I get that question so much. Like somebody must have wrote an article about that at some point. Listen, this wreath is going up on your door. There's no rules. It doesn't have to be 4, 5, 6, 7. It has to be what you like looking at. if you're at the store and you're going, I don't know why, I typically buy in 5s. Or, you know, if I'm buying like, say, pumpkin specific things, I'll typically buy 5 pumpkins. I think that's just a weird me thing. It doesn't have to be a certain number. If you are, say you're in wherever you go to buy your stuff. Say you're in Joann Fabrics, and I don't even know what they have there right now, but say you're in there and you're laying out your wreath and you're like, you know what, I really love these pumpkins. Well, then buy a couple more. I mean, what the heck? There doesn't have to be a specific number. I do think odds tend to look a little better. Uh-oh, I lost my numbers. Oh, here they are. Sometimes in certain things. If it's a pronounced, say you're using like pampas grass and you're like want it to be, then yes, sometimes I feel like odds can look a little bit better. But in general, I just don't think you need to abide by the rules. I know there's probably real floral designers that are mad at me for saying that, but honestly, this is supposed to bring you joy. So I think it should just be whatever does that. Who says that? Marie Kondo, I think. Doesn't she say, let it spark joy? I feel like let it spark joy in the middle of, if it's making you happy in the middle of Joann Fabrics, then I feel like let it happen. Let's not overthink. Shall we? Okay. All right. You can see I'm almost done with my second glue stick, if you can believe that. It happens quickly though, because like I said, especially, you know, if it's going outside, I do think that it's nice. These ones are great. Look at these. You can really use those along the edges to kind of give that feathery look. I'll hold it up after I get these ones glued in. I think that really is going to fill in nicely. Let's see. Hi, Janice. See, Janice is on. Okay. Ooh, that's really pretty. I love that color in there. I'm going to hold it up so you can kind of start to see what it looks like with the pumpkins in there. Starting to really take shape. Very whimsical. And we used that great Mackenzie to give it the little bit of fun that we were hoping for, but yet we also have the realness of some of those sunflowers and whatnot, the end of the season type of things. So we're looking forward to, we got the hay bales. I will tell you, it was very difficult to find pumpkins. But then somebody just told me today, Gracie told me today, I don't know when she went to Tops, but she said, Mom, because Grace and I drove around looking for pumpkins yesterday.
You guys went all the way up to like,
Marilla. Then we finally found some, I feel so bad that I don't know the farm's name. On Alma and Bowen, if anybody knows the name of that farm. They were so sweet and they let me go right in their garage and get what I wanted, so thank you for that. I feel bad that I don't know the name. But it's right on Bowen by...
I can tell you what it is.
Yeah, if you could look it up. It's right by the school. It's right by Iroquois School. So, anyways, it's a little early for pumpkins, but I was trying to decorate for Fall Fest, which is this weekend too, if you don't know about that coming up. We have 15% off your entire purchases. We have some fall cocktails.
It's Blair Farm?
Yes, thank you, Marty. Blair Farm. They were so sweet. Thank you, Blair Farm. And they had a good selection of pumpkins there. Not yet a lot of gourds, but to be coming. Okay, I'm gonna switch over now because I want to add a little bit, I think, of this green to pull some of these pumpkins. These are so cute. They have on there the little pine cones too. But I think to pull, I'm just gonna show you what I'm thinking over here. I'm thinking that if we can add some of that in there, it's gonna really pull in those pumpkins and not just be that only pretty sage green. I love that sage green. I think it's so nice and soft and very easy to work with because it just blends with so many different things. So we were able to find pumpkins, although early. If anybody knows a good gourd spot, you can let me know. I've been having a hard time. I love like those, I don't know what the real name of them are, but I love the gourds that have all the, kind of the, I don't know, what would those be called? Like the little warts or something? I don't know. Like the little bumps all over them. I kind of like it when they have that. All right, I'm just gonna add, I don't know, maybe like 3 of these in there because they're super leafy, so I don't want it to overtake things. And again, I'm kind of lifting and shoving. If I say I want my sunflowers to still be the star of the show, I'm kind of lifting. This is just like a supporting role, I would say. Oh, where did I put my other? Oh, here. Okay. Excuse me. This is why I typically do this in my garage. I do make a mess. I stopped doing it at the store. Janice can attest to this because I used to do it on the back design room table, but I get glue everywhere. So she was like, Anne-Marie, you're driving me crazy with the glue. True story, right, Jace? Okay. Just gonna put, I think, 1 more of these in over here. And then I'll kind of hold it up so you guys can see how it's looking. How am I doing on time? Not too bad? You guys still sticking with me? I think we're gonna be able to get this done. But I wanna show you what that green looks like now, pulling in those pumpkins. You can really see it supports the orange. It looks a heck of a lot different than the way we started, doesn't it? So it's really starting to take shape. Okay, what else? I think I want some depth of color in here now. I like those little acorns. I wish I had more of those little dark colored acorns. I don't know that I do. I have some red ones. Let me see. Emily, will you look in the garage? Let me see. Oh no, actually I do really like these. Okay, this is nice because these are just like little clumps like this with some leaves and things on there. Separate them, spread them out, let them look nice and big. Do we have a bunch of these? These will be great to kind of fill in those little spots. Okay. I love adding pine cones in, and like I said, some harder elements like that. And when I'm doing those little bunches, I'm gonna really let you see what I just did there because it looks so pretty with that cranberry color against the green. But you can see how it almost looks like the pumpkin is coming right out of that. Oh, I hope you can see that, both. And I think that's really pretty and a great way to use that. Again, you're kind of supporting some of the bigger items and also highlighting because you're putting that deep dark contrast color up against that really pretty green sage. I really love that cranberry acorn color next to that, so I'm gonna go ahead and I think do that maybe almost at every pumpkin. Emily, have you ever thought about trying? You've never really made a wreath, but Gracie was...
I'm not very good at like putting bouquets together and like that stuff.
But you also, it does take practice. You know, you have a good eye. And I think the other thing is that most people know what they like, right? You know what you like and you don't like. It just maybe take a minute or an extra few minutes to try to put it together, right? You know, one thing I do, like if I'm at market, say, and I'm buying a bunch of things, and I want to see colors, or if I have, obviously now I have a plethora to pick from, but I'll kind of just place one of each in my hand. And that's a great tip, like if you're in the store and you want to just kind of, maybe say you have a ribbon that you really love and you want to pull that all together. That's a great tip to do because then you can really see if you like those colors all together. And I think, again, if you like it, it doesn't have to be perfect. And the more you do it, the easier it does get. Practice makes perfect, right? Or just come into the store and buy them. Either way, that can work too. That can work too. Like I said, I don't like glitter. We all have our stuff, and I don't like scrapbooking. So that's crafty. And I don't have that kind of patience. I think it's more like if you're a baker or a cook. I don't know. I don't have that kind of, I wish, and there probably is, you'll probably all DM me and tell me, but I wish I had beautiful scrapbooks. Like if somebody said to me, I want to make them for you, I'm sure there's people that do that, but I don't have that. It does not bring me joy. It does not bring me joy. It says on here, is anybody not hearing her? Aw, I'm not sure.
Is it on Instagram or Facebook?
That is on Instagram, I think. I'm sorry you can't hear me. I'll try to speak up a little bit so you can hear me maybe. Well, I can hear yours. Is it working yours?
I can hear you.
So people are able to hear? Oh, good. Okay. Maybe it was just
Maybe
coming.
it's like if your ringer's on or something.
You know, my house is kind of a little bit in the country, so maybe sometimes I worry that the internet isn't, I'm still just gluing those acorns in right now, so you can kind of see what that is like. You can hear? Oh, good, Gracie, okay. I'm sorry, Kathy, I'll speak up. Anyways, in case anybody else isn't able to hear. All right, so we're getting close. Let me show you how this is turning out. Again, where my hand is where my bow is gonna go. You can see those big cranberries in there. That cranberry color really, really popped. I love that. And so I think we're getting close. The only thing is now I want a little bit of finesse along the edges. Some detail along the edges. Let me just try this. Hold on, let me go to my little, I found these little bunches and I thought they were so cute. Aren't they fun? That's another thing. I'm not a gardener. I love the way they look. And as much as I try to be, I'm really not great at it. So for you ladies that can't make a wreath, but your gardens are beautiful, I guess practice makes perfect, right? I love going. Okay, I want to show you what I'm going to do with this to give it, like I said, that finesse. And also pull in that cranberry color. I'm going to add these ones around to the edge. Can you see that? So that it just gives that like dainty, sweet little edge. I think it will be really cute. So yesterday, I'm going to make you go get my new plant. I went to Seneca Greenhouse. You know, I don't go to one greenhouse or one farm. I go to like 95,000. But I went to Seneca Greenhouse. Went in because I was looking for my window boxes in my front porch. I wanted those kale, you know, the ones that are, you know, that you can shove in your window boxes and stuff.
Yeah, the tall or the short one?
The short one. So when I walked in, wait until you guys see this. Now, I've recently decided that I'd like to try to grow plants in my house. Again, not my gift, not my forte, but wait until you see what I got at Seneca Greenhouse. This is the cutest plant. I assure you it'll probably die shortly. It is the
You're just gonna fake one
It
of
is
this.
so cute. It's a polka dot. I'll read what it is. Look at this. Look at the polka dots. Stop it. This is called a begonia, but it's a polka dotted begonia. Seneca Greenhouse. I think it was $7. You're welcome. It is cute though. But these kind of make me think of that, the little polka dots. Grace thought I was so weird. Didn't you, Grace? I see she's on here. But they had the cutest plants. I got full directions on
There comes Polka.
polka. I also feel it's necessary to name them. My kids were all like, Mom, maybe it's because Jacob left and went off to Ottawa. Maybe I'm trying to grow plants or something. I don't know. You feel that maternal instinct happening. Hopefully I can keep that little plant alive. I think it's so cute though. It brings me, again, made me happy. These are working just like a charm to give that cute little edge. I'm almost done. I'm just going to add a few more in. so that you can really just kind of have a balanced look all the way around. But I think that they were just the ticket to give pretty. This wreath I think would look so pretty on a lighter colored door. That's also, I guess, something I should talk about, is because, like I said, when I'm thinking about what the client's house looks like, etc., I also keep in mind, like when you're picking out your stuff to make yours for your house, typically you want that wreath to stand out beautifully against the door. So although this would look really pretty against wood tones, the light colors of it I think could be really beautiful too. So we'll have snacks this weekend. We'll have cocktails, so that'll be fun. 15% off everything in the store and everything online. So if you're not local, you can for sure shop online. Fall is one of my favorites. I think it's my favorite season to decorate for. I think I love that even more. I love doing a Christmas tree. I really enjoy that.
It's like a bigger wreath.
It is like a bigger wreath in a lot of ways. That's why, like, a lot of people had requested last year on our lives to do a Christmas tree tutorial. I don't know that I can take up that much of your time. I feel grateful that you're sticking with me this long, because it does take quite a bit of time when I'm doing a wreath. And not, like I said, I'm trying to go as fast as I can here tonight. So I said to myself I was going to try to keep it to an hour, like we always do. But I just love all of those colors, that like cranberries and stuff like that for fall. And I'll tell you, the store, all of our Mackenzie fall came in and whatnot, and it looks great, doesn't it, Emily? It really looks pretty in the store.
I think my favorite is, I love Christmas because it's super magical at the store.
Right?
But my second favorite definitely is fall.
Yeah.
I just love all like the Mackenzie pumpkins and all the different styles and all the different collections and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use one more of these cranberry things because I feel like I have one little hole, and then I'm going to be ready to share it with you, I promise. And I'll show you how I tie my bow on as well. I'm lucky because Gracie has always kind of taken an interest in the bows, which works out for me because I used to make a lot of bows.
Cardboard, like
yes, I used to make a lot of bows, and so it's kind of nice when you're a teenager. We'll help you out. Okay, I think we are looking good. I want you guys to take a look and see what those little cute polkas at the end kind of gave us, that really beautiful cranberry. I love it. I think it looks great. Let's put our bow on. Okay. So I always have Grace, and like I said, maybe we can get her on here and show you how she makes the bows. I make mine a little differently. Hers are much more beautiful, to be honest with you, and she doesn't have to cut the ribbon. But this is the bow that I'm making today, and she always gives me nice long tails here to tie it right on, because sometimes then our wreath may look great this season. Uh-oh, where's my hole now? Now I added so much in there, I feel, oh no, right here. But your bow might fade, so it's nice to be able to not glue it in, and that way you can just, I tie them right around, and that way when, you know, like this year my bows all needed, you know, a refresh when I stuck them out there, but I needed a little bit more glue, maybe some freshening up, but the wreath itself looked pretty good. I just felt as though the bow had been a little bit sun damaged, so I re-glued some of the items in, replaced the bow, and I think I'll be good for at least another 2 years on that wreath. I had made my front door wreath last fall, and that's about, I would say, the average lifespan of them. They're not going to last forever, especially if the sun is hitting them and they get a little sun bleached. Once I put the bow on, I typically have Grace do 3 tails, because I kind of weave them in and out. Then you'll have to kind of take a look, okay, do I have any holes? I think we're looking pretty good. And let me show you the final results.
I always think they multiply the size by like 5.
It does.
It's so cool.
It is, and that's how I take a regular wreath that you can get anywhere. When you see them on sale, grab them, and we make them look big and gorgeous and super full, and they can be customized to your color scheme. And you can always come into the store, and we have some. I don't have enough for you to make full wreaths now because, quite honestly, besides the classes and besides having some, most people wanted me to make them. This is like watching Martha Stewart, but do-it-yourself version with Anne Marie. Oh, well, thank you, Gracie. Grace is at the store working right now. She was meeting one of our surprise guests tomorrow. I didn't name her purposely because I want to do a big reveal tomorrow. But I will say, Avery, I'm very excited. But I think then you can customize them. I don't have a lot of like the leaves and things like that. I have more of those Mackenzie Childs bunches and specialty pumpkins that you may want to glue in, velvet pumpkins, things like that. But we do have, I'm going to have especially, like I said, I've been trying to make a lot of wreaths so that by the weekend you guys have a ton to choose from. And it will hopefully inspire you. Maybe you'll come in and you'll say, you know what, I really am going to just take a picture of this one and try to recreate it. Go do it. A lot of people are like, can you just make me one? And I do that. I do that. It just, you have to give me a little bit of time. Unfortunately, it just takes me probably 2 weeks, I'd say. Depending on how much interior design I'm doing at that moment. But anyways, hopefully you got some information out of this. I hope you had fun. And make sure if you happen to make a wreath on your own, you do it and you DM me so I can see all of your progress. I hope that I see a lot of you at the store this weekend. And like I said, 15% off Fall Fest. We're open from 10 to 5 on Saturday, and we'll be online shopping as well. All right, guys, enjoy your cocktail. Enjoy your fall scented candles. Have a good night. Bye.